Hello, I'm Sneha Koshi, and a 5-judge bench has been hearing petitions on poll panel reforms. The Supreme Court has asked some tough questions to the centre. One of them being, if the appointment is done by the government, can it take on the Prime Minister?
Just days after the new election commissioner Arun Goyal took charge, a Supreme Court Constitution bench asked the centre to submit files on his appointment by tomorrow. The court pointed out the government made the appointment after the court started this hearing of petitions over appointment of commissioners to the poll body.
We began hearing at that stage, Mr. Bhushan said, we have an interim application. This is an urgent matter. Then, in the interim, then the next hearing takes place yesterday. I mean, it took place yesterday. We began yesterday, on Tuesday.
I would only venture to say there is no design. I'd only venture to say.
We are not saying that.
That's
so, therefore, we would like you to produce the files relating to the appointment of this officer, so that if you are in the right, as you claim to be, that there is no hanky-panky.
The pleas seek a collegium system comprising of the Prime Minister, Chief Justice and Leader of Opposition to appoint India's election bosses, replacing the centre's unilateral powers. The Supreme Court posed some sharp questions to the centre, highlighting the fact that this is a constitutional post and noting its independent character.
Supposing the election commissioner is asked to take on none less than the Prime Minister himself.
Please.
Giving an example.
Yes.
Just an example.
We are testing this knowledge.
Hypothetical example. Supposing the election commissioner sort of, is so weak-kneed.
Yes.
That he says, okay, carries with it, he doesn't get around to doing it. Will it not be a case of complete breakdown of the system then?
The centre, through Attorney General Venkat Ramani, Solicitor General Tushar Mehta and Additional Solicitor General Balbir Singh, argued against judicial intervention. Responding to the argument, the appointment mechanism should also include Chief Justice of India. Solicitor General argued,
Yesterday, during the discussion, there was some debate as to whether presence of someone who is, I would say, non-executive person. Your Lordships are aware, the separation is very clear. That's why, this separation of powers. One organ will not entrench upon another organ. Second organ will not entrench upon the third organ. That's how, the balancing system in the Constitution functions. That there should be a presence of someone who is not a part of the executive. But for an outside presence, the executive will not be able to discharge its functions honestly or with transparency.
Currently, the centre appoints India's election bosses. List of senior bureaucrats sent to Law Ministry. Law Ministry forwards the list to Prime Minister. President appoints election commissioner on recommendations of the government. Senior most election commissioner becomes the chief election commissioner.
While Centre defended the existing mechanism for appointment of election commissioners and asked the court not to enter into the domain of legislature, Supreme Court said, despite the Constitution saying so, no law has been put in place for appointment of election commissioners, and that's why the court is interfering in this matter to do the needful. With camera person Manoj Thakur, this is Arvind Gunasekar for NDTV.
And keeping to politics, the BJP has suspended 12 rebels in Gujarat, including a 6-time MLA and 2 former MLAs for filing nominations as independent candidates for the upcoming assembly elections after they were denied the party ticket. The number is now up to 19. The suspension is for 6 years, during which they can't remain members of the party. 7 leaders were suspended earlier after nomination filing was done for the first phase to be held on December 1. The 12 suspended now are contesting in the second phase, which is on December 5th.
કોંગ્રેસનું મોડેલ એટલે વંશવાદ, કોંગ્રેસનું મોડેલ એટલે પરિવારવાદ, કોંગ્રેસનું મોડેલ એટલે જાતિવાદ. બીજી પાછી કરામત કઈ લોકોને પછાત જ રાખવાના, લોકોની સ્થિતિ એવી રાખવાની કે કાયમ ગરીબોને બિચારાને હાથ લાંબો કરીને ઉભા રહેવું પડે અને સરકાર મા બાપ કઈ ને કઈ આપે.
वो शोले पिक्चर में एक डायलॉग था ना कि सो जा बेटा सो जा नहीं तो गब्बर आ जाएगा. आज गुजरात से मीलों दूर जब कोई भ्रष्टाचारी रोता है तो उसकी माँ कहती है बेटा सो जा नहीं तो केजरीवाल आ जाएगा और तेरे को जेल में डाल देगा. अरविंद केजरीवाल जी का जन्म ही भारत देश से भ्रष्टाचार और महंगाई खत्म करने के लिए हुआ है साथी.
And from Gujarat to Madhya Pradesh, it's Yatra versus Yatra in Madhya Pradesh. Bharat Jodo Yatra enters Madhya Pradesh and BJP counters Congress with its own Yatra. Let's listen in.
मध्य प्रदेश में हम चुनाव जीत गए, हमारी सरकार थी और करोड़ों रुपए लेकर 20-25 भ्रष्ट विधायकों को खरीद लिया और सरकार बना ली. मेरा कहना है हमने भारत जोड़ो यात्रा क्यों शुरू की? क्योंकि सब लोकतांत्रिक रास्ते बंद थे. लोकसभा बंद, चुनाव का रास्ता बंद, प्रेस का रास्ता बंद, बाकी जो संस्थाएं इंस्टीट्यूशंस हैं उनको सबको आरएसएस बीजेपी ने पकड़ रखा है, अपने लोग भर रखे हैं, जुडिशरी पे दबाव डाल रखा है, कोर्ट्स पे दबाव डाल रखा है. तो हमने सोचा एक ही रास्ता है और कोई रास्ता बचा नहीं है. सड़क पे उतरो, जनता से गले लगो, किसानों की बात सुनो, मजदूरों की बात सुनो, छोटे व्यापारियों की बात सुनो और उनसे सीधा जाके जुड़ जाओ.
And my colleague Anurag spoke to Congress workers.
So Rahul Gandhi in Burhanpur had said that we started the Bharat Jodo Yatra as all democratic ways to raise the voice of opposition had been closed. We cannot reach them by elections. They buy corrupt MLAs like they did in Madhya Pradesh, and the press and other institutions are there too. We are in Khandwa and we are being joined by the few senior citizens and other citizens of Khandwa. We would just like to discuss that what is the meaning of Bharat Jodo Yatra for them. Sir, अपना नाम बताएंगे?
शेख हमीद.
शेख साहब, क्या है आपके लिए भारत जोड़ो यात्रा का मतलब क्या है?
भारत जोड़ो यात्रा एक अच्छा मैसेज है जो तमाम मुद्दों पे उसने कदम उठा रहे हैं. राहुल जी ने अच्छे मैसेज दे रहा है कि ताकि भारत से सब तरह के लोग जुड़े और सब यात्रा सफल रहे और सब मतलब ये सब भेदभाव खत्म हो. कुल मिला के अच्छी बात ये है.
आपका नाम क्या है?
मनोज पटेल.
मनोज पटेल, आप युवा हैं मनोज जी, आपके लिए ऐसी यात्राओं का क्या मतलब है?
इसका मतलब अच्छा कर रहा है राहुल जी, जो कर रहा है ना अच्छा हो रहा है.
तो आपके लिए क्या अच्छा कर रहे हैं वो? आपके लिए रोजगार और तमाम ऐसी बातें, कुछ आपको लग रहा है कि आपके लिए अच्छा होगा?
भविष्य में अच्छा होगा. जो चीज़ आपको अच्छी लग रही है वो बता दो, मतलब जो सोच आपकी हो. मतलब ये जो काम हो रहा है वो अच्छा हो रहा है.
अच्छा हो रहा है. आप साहब, आपका नाम?
मोहम्मद फारूक.
मोहम्मद फारूक जी, आपके लिए ऐसी यात्रा को क्या मतलब है कि देश में एकता बढ़े, भाईचारा बढ़े, क्या सोचते हैं?
हाँ, अच्छी है ना, बहुत बढ़िया, अच्छी है बहुत. ठीक है.
आप क्या सोचते हैं?
मैं तो ये चाहता हूँ कि ये जो चुनाव आते हैं तो हमेशा उसके अंदर जो नफरत की बातें होती है ये बातें खत्म होना चाहिए.
And the tragic death of 5 civilians from Meghalaya and a forest guard from Assam has led to a renewed focus on the boundary disputes between the two states, while the administrations of both states are focused on maintaining calm and not letting the situation get out of hand. An incident has been reported from Shillong, which is believed to be in retaliation for yesterday's incident.
5 civilians killed in firing by Assam police in territory Meghalaya claims as its own. The Meghalaya Chief Minister Conrad Sangma visiting families of those who died in Mukro village.
The last year and a half, as a government, we've been working proactively to ensure that we are able to resolve this border issue. As you have mentioned yourself, Mr. Chairman, that this government in the past has taken concrete steps. We didn't just promise.
Last evening, in Meghalaya's capital Shillong, a car with an Assam number plate was set on fire in the Jalupara area, reportedly in retaliation to the incident. Cars bearing Assam number plates are now being restricted from heading to Meghalaya in peak tourist season. Meghalaya claims the Assam police came into Meghalaya territory in Mukro village in the West Chantia Hills, while Assam claims the area is under its Karbi Anglong district. The incident has put the focus on decades-old border disputes between Assam and Meghalaya. In March this year, an agreement regarding the state's border disputes was signed, which was described as historic, as it had been pending over 50 years. The pact had resolved disputes in 6 of the 12 places along the 885-kilometer border between the two states. But these unresolved disputes can flare up even due to unconnected incidents, leading to tragic consequences like Tuesday's incident. Also taking the hit is the famous Cherry Blossom Festival, which is a major tourist attraction. Businesses will be hit hard as all hotels were booked for the festival. The Trinamool Congress hit out at the Meghalaya government, saying Conrad Sangma was allowing Himanta Biswa Sarma to take Meghalaya for granted and said the state government had failed its own people. Border disputes are not new to the northeastern states. Last year in a clash between Assam and Mizoram, 6 policemen were killed. This time around, again in a clash in a disputed area, 6 people have died, 5 civilians and a forest guard from Assam. But when these flare-ups take place, they have tragic consequences on local communities and also security forces. With camera person Sanjay Chakraborty at the Assam-Meghalaya border, Saurabh Gupta, NDTV.
And further probe into the gruesome murder of Shraddha Walkar by her live-in partner Aftab in Delhi has brought out a letter reportedly written to Mumbai police in November 2020. It's shocking to see that it almost seems Shraddha predicted the way she would die. Let's see this report.
Nearly 2 years before Shraddha was allegedly murdered by her live-in partner, she wrote this complaint to the police: that Aftab threatened to strangle her and cut her into pieces. Exactly how she appears to have been killed in May this year. In the complaint to the Vasai police in Maharashtra, Shraddha said that Aftab had tried to suffocate her to death and threatened to chop her body and throw it away. The letter is dated November 2020, around the time when she was reportedly hospitalized after being assaulted. She says that Aftab should be held responsible for any physical harm inflicted on her, adding that his parents were aware that he was an abusive partner and that she doesn't wish to live with him anymore. The Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra and BJP leader Devendra Fadnavis demanded an inquiry, alleging a lapse.
मैंने उसको देखा है, बहुत सीरियस पत्र है, उसके ऊपर क्यों कार्रवाई नहीं हुई इसकी जांच हमको करनी पड़ेगी। मैं किसी पर दोषारोपण नहीं करना चाहता, लेकिन इस प्रकार के पत्रों पर कार्रवाई अगर नहीं हुई तो ऐसी घटनाएं होती है, इसलिए जरूर उसकी जांच की जाएगी।
But the police say Shraddha subsequently withdrew her complaint against Aftab.
इस मामले में जो भी जरूरी कार्रवाई करनी थी वो कार्रवाई पुलिस की तरफ से की गई है। जो अर्जी दी गई थी, अर्जी के ऊपर में जांच हुई है। जांच के बाद में खुद जो कंप्लेनेंट ने लिखित बयान दिया है कि उसकी अब कोई कंप्लेंट या तकरार रही नहीं है।
Cops say that after she withdrew her complaint, she submitted a written statement to the Vasai police saying everything was resolved between the couple and that she doesn't wish to follow up on the complaint.
Shraddha's helplessness is evident in that letter, as it was in her chats with her friends. There as well, she talks about reaching out to the police and how scared she was about filing a complaint against Aftab. So it can very well be the case that she withdrew the complaint under the pressure of a violent partner.
Meanwhile in Delhi, the police postponed the lie detector test which was supposed to be conducted on Aftab today, since he was reportedly unwell.
In these 4 days of Aftab's extended police custody, the Delhi police hope to piece together all the evidence that it has recovered in the past 10 days. The police also hope to confront Aftab with his own statements and contradictory confessions in that truth serum test. Shraddha's letter has given a major boost to the Delhi police in cracking the case that has so far been built on circumstantial evidence. Her complaint corroborates most of the details that Aftab had shared in his confessions about the murder, making it easier for the Delhi police to build a stronger case in favor of young Shraddha. In New Delhi with camera person Sanjay Kaushik and Gauri Prasad, Vedant for NDTV.
And another story, an 8-month-old child was identified as the latest casualty of the measles outbreak in Mumbai, taking the total number of deaths to 12. On Wednesday, the central government expressed concern at the rising cases and issued an advisory. The centre has issued an advisory to Bihar, Gujarat, Haryana, Jharkhand, Kerala and Maharashtra regarding the rise in measles, sending expert teams to these respective states. As per the advisory, the state must ensure that vaccine campaigns in the affected districts, as well as there should be an additional dose of the MRC vaccines to all children of 9 months, between 9 months and 5 years in vulnerable areas. Meanwhile, this is a report on what is happening in Mumbai.
In India's financial capital, the latest battle is a basic one against vaccines.
After the death of almost 12 persons, mainly children.
Vaccination camps are being organized here at the Top Hill area, one of the 17 outbreak centers. The victims are largely from poor families. According to municipality officials, the reasons for spike is either parents being unaware about vaccines or not getting their children vaccinated due to migration during the pandemic.
मीजल्स ये जो है वैक्सीन प्रिवेंटेबल डिसीज़ है. अगर ये मीजल्स के केसेस हमें ज़्यादा दिखाई दे रहे हैं तो इसका क्लियर कट मतलब है कि वैक्सीनेशन का कहीं कहीं एरिया में प्रभाव कम है. कि अक्टूबर से लेके आउटब्रेक हमें ज़्यादा रिपोर्ट हो रहे हैं. आउटब्रेक का मतलब है एक जगह पर 5 सस्पेक्टेड मीजल्स के केसेस मिलते हैं तो उसे हम आउटब्रेक कहते हैं. ऐसे केसेस मिल रहे तो तुरंत हम लोगों ने पहले तो हेड काउंट किया है सबका 0 to 2 years का. उसमें हमें ऐसे दिखाई दिया कि 20,000 जो केसेस है बच्चे हैं उनका वैक्सीनेशन हुआ नहीं है. तो तुरंत हम लोगों ने उनके वैक्सीनेशन के लिए एक कार्यवाही चालू की.
मोहतरम हज़रात, बीएमसी के जानिब से ये ऐलान किया जा रहा है.
Announcements are being made from the madrasas to ensure there is no rumor or misunderstanding over the vaccines. A 1-year-old child died on Tuesday in Nalasopara, just into Mumbai. But the worst situation is in Mumbai's Govandi and Mankhurd area, which has 6 epicenters and 51 cases. 24-year-old Shaheen's 14-month-old child, Faisal, was hospitalized after his health deteriorated, but he died within hours. He hadn't been vaccinated at 9 months as usually advised.
अब आप मुझे बताइए, क्या आपने जो टीकाकरण होता है वो सब किया हुआ था? 9 महीने में बच्चे को वैक्सीन देना होता है?
मेरी तबीयत खराब थी, मैं एडमिट थी ना, तो उसके चक्कर में नहीं हुआ था. मेरी बहन मेरे बच्चे को संभालती थी तो उसको इतनी नॉलेज नहीं थी.
Most of the children who died due to measles also faced other diseases like pneumonia or diarrhea, and this affected their immune systems. In Mumbai, with camera person Rajendra Dayalkar, Sohit Mishra, NDTV.
And in Delhi, the premier All India Institute Medical Sciences might have been subjected to a ransomware attack, according to a statement by the hospital. All sections of the hospital have been functioning manually since 7 in the morning as the service started malfunctioning on Wednesday. In the evening, the hospital in the statement said that National Informatics Center, working to restore the system, has informed that this may be a ransomware attack, which will be investigated by the appropriate authorities. The city's largest referral hospital, which caters to 1.5 million outpatients and 80,000 inpatients every year, has been operating manually since morning, leaving long queues at every department.